Guys, so you all know me. So I teach physics and chemistry in the IB. Okay. Now I don't really have any great agenda here to try and sell a subject because I think at this point you all know what sciences you like. So I just wanted to touch on one thing I think is worth talking about is what if you're just planning on doing one science and you have to do one science, you have to pick a group 4 subject. But if you're doing just one, you probably know already which one you're going to do. I think, generally speaking, people have figured out by now whether they like biochem or physics, or maybe they're going to try sports, exercise science. So these are the 4 subjects that are offered in Group 4. Yeah, the sciences essentially. Okay, biology, physics, chemistry, and SEHS. What if you're thinking of doing 2, which is possible? So if you're into science and if you think you're going to move in that direction, you might consider doing 2 sciences. I'm not sure how that works with scheduling, but it's certainly at the expense of your group 6 subject, which is art, if you want to do that. But I think you can also possibly at the expense of a group 4. I'm not sure how that works, but that'll all become clear. So I just wanted to talk about very quickly about the common combinations. Usually the majority of my students in chemistry are doing a second science, and chemistry is that second science subject. So often it complements biology. If you were thinking of going on and doing medicine or something biomedical, a combination of chemistry and biology often works very well in that regard. Okay, to understand the fundamentals of biochemistry and biology, you need to have a grasp of chemistry. So those 2 complement each other. If you're thinking of engineering or in that kind of direction, physics and chemistry is a very common combination as well. Okay, now obviously people who do biology like to do sports and exercise science. And those teachers will talk to you about those subjects, and that's a common combination as well. Less common, but I have one student doing it this year, is to do chemistry and sports and exercise science. So this is possible. But what isn't possible is to do biology and physics, because they're blocked together on the timetable. Now, that's done that way because there's hardly ever a situation where anybody wants to. But somebody here is talking to me about doing bio and physics. Yeah, but that's really unusual. Yeah, generally speaking, most people will want to do one or the other. If you're into biology, you tend not to like physics, so you're an unusual case in that regard. Anyway, I don't know if that's helpful. If anybody wants to come and talk about subjects in terms of doing a second subject, by all means do. Okay, all of the subjects in the IB, just to give you a quick sense of what they look like, you do 3 papers and an internal assessment. So these are 3 exam papers at the end of your second year, and an internal assessment which is worth about 20%. That's a research project that you have to do. This is the same in biology, and as far as I know, the same in sports health and exercise science. Okay, so this is the general layout of the course. Okay, 3 exams and a research project that you do that's worth 20%. Slightly different weightings for a higher level, but that's pretty much what it looks like. Okay, I'm never sure what to talk about here, so I'm going to kind of go through it quickly, just show you kind of some of the substance of the course, give you a sense of what each course entails, and if you have any questions, maybe we'll have a moment for that. This year in year 10, you're doing mostly this, psychometric relationships, looking at moles, the basic calculations we do in chemistry, how they relate to chemical equations, transformation of matter, and so on and so on. Along with atomic structure, which you'll also have touched on, the structure of the atom, numbers of electrons, protons, and all that. Periodicity is trends in the periodic table. Yeah, touches on things like atomic, ionic radii, electronegativity, and then bonding and how bonding is related to periodicity. These all kind of these are the first 4 topics in chemistry, and it's like the fundamentals of chemistry, I always think. You do that first, and then you see them everywhere else in the course. Everything else is built upon that. The rest of the course then goes through physical and inorganic chemistry. You have energetics and kinetics. You do a little bit of this in year 10. This looks at energy changes in chemical reactions, rates of chemical reactions. Equilibria are a type of reversible reactions that run in both directions. And then you have acid-base chemistry. I noticed that I've left out topic 9, which is redox chemistry, which should also be in here. Looks at how batteries work and things like that. And then you have this should say organic actually, not inorganic. So you've got organic chemistry and then different types of analysis. And then lastly, you have the options. So all of these are built on this fundamentals, and then the options, usually I tend to do medicinal chemistry, but there are other options there, including biochemistry. That's the general layout of the chemistry. Okay, it runs through, it builds on what you've got from year 10 and goes into a lot more detail. all of these topics tend to have extensions for higher level. The only exception is this one. Okay, so if you were doing higher level chemistry, you would do a second section for all of these topics. It'd be like, generally it's about, I don't know, 2/5, a third of the extra material on top of it. But it goes into kind of a lot more detail on some of the same ideas, basically. Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah, let's do it this way, because that's finishing up the chemistry. So if it's on chemistry, do you want?
Yeah, I mean, so can we choose kind of like what to do in chemistry?
Not really. You have the options. If the options, you choose
So
one
you
option.
choose what topics to do inside chemistry.
No, only within the options. Everybody has to do this. Now, if you're doing standard level, you'll only do the standard level component of a given topic. But if it's higher level, you will have to do all of it.
So,
The only option you have is basically with what they call the options. You have to do one of these. One of the four. You choose
but
one.
you have to do every.
Everything else you have to do.
What if we're like only interested in
What are you interested in?
medicine?
Medicinal chemistry. Well, you can't understand medicinal chemistry. This is pharmacology, drug design, and a lot of that. No?
No, more like, yeah. I can email or
Okay, yeah, come and ask me if you'd like. Okay, that's the chemistry. The physics, I mean, this year we focused in on mechanics. So a lot of what you're doing is mechanics with a little bit of circular motion and gravitation. Okay, and that's pretty much what you do in year 10. So you'll be getting a sense of the type of subject it is, the types of calculations involved. It's very much problem solving, data analysis. There's a large overlap with chemistry as well. They have a lot of similar things in common. These are the topics that are on the standard level. So you do measurement and uncertainties, how to look at data analysis, how to spot patterns, how to present data, how to process it. Thermal physics looks at energy changes, waves looks at waves, electricity and magnetism is obvious, circular motion, gravitation, you know, and then you have an atomic, nuclear and particle physics section, and we have energy production, which is kind of like how we manipulate sources of energy, and there's a whole thing about climate change and things like that. One sec. Then you have the higher level, which is an extension of some of these topics. Topic 9 is an extension of topic 4, wave phenomena. Topic 10, fields, is the extension of electrical fields and gravitational fields. Electromagnetic induction is an extension of electricity and magnetism. And then quantum and nuclear physics is an extension of nuclear and particle physics. Okay, so this is your higher level component. And then again, like in the chemistry, you have 4 options from which you will choose one. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Sure. I can share this with you if you like.
Wait, Mr. The options, like...
Yeah. The options generally we would all do the same option. So I would pick, generally I would pick one or we discuss it. Astrophysics tends to be the one I do for
But it's only
physics.
for HL or SL2?
Again, the option has an SL and a HL component. Like a topic. They might have 10 subsections. The first 6 are SL and then the last 4 are HL.
I think people that are physics alone.
Can you just do physics by itself?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you can pick any of the 4 sciences to do by itself. The only restriction you have in picking a second science is you can't do bio and physics because they're timetable together. Okay, but it's rare that anyone would want it. The most common combinations are bio and chemistry, or physics and chemistry. Okay, now it's complicated a bit now with the introduction of the sports and sports exercise and health science. Probably, I would imagine the most common combination between that would be that and biology because there's a big overlap. Any questions?
Are we allowed to just do health science like on its own?
Yeah.
To do what?
Are we allowed to do like health science on its own?
Yes. Yes?
So like, I just have a question. So like, I'm gonna take physics and HL, inshallah, and then I'm also gonna take math HL. But like, what kind of math should I take that goes?
I think is it the AA is the more calculus based one?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be probably the better. Yeah, but you could talk to the math teacher, they'd be able to answer that better than me. I'm not very familiar with them, but that's the one that's more calculus based. So yeah, that would serve you better. It's more conceptual, I think, in terms of physics. Okay, alright guys, I'm going to let Mr. Jones come in and talk to you about economics and COK, okay? If you have any questions, seek me out, yeah, or ask me when I'm here during lunch.